Welcome to How Can stem.T4L Impact Teaching and Learning at Your School? I'm Linda Lazenby, Principal Education Officer of stem.T4L.
And I'm Rob McTaggart, Learning Experience Developer for stem.T4L as well. Let's begin with an acknowledgement of country. We to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. We acknowledge the role of elders past, present and future, and the importance of observing the cultures, customs and traditions of Aboriginal Australia.
So first of all, we're going to talk through some of our research. stem.T4L is unique in that we have two exceptional researchers that are constantly measuring the impact of our project on schools and in teaching and learning. Some of our research papers talk through teacher confidence, student learning and career aspirations.
Makes our whole project really unique.
It does.
Valuable, doesn't it? So let's begin with teacher confidence. We actually had a lot of responses to this research, 11,000 in all of teachers and students, including pre and post surveys. And a few of these, I'd like to point out each of these actually on this slide. I think these are fantastic markers of just how important this project has been. Teacher confidence in knowledge to teach STEM went from 46 to a great big 70% by the end of the term with our kids. And
I think for the other piece that we picked up on this research was teacher confidence in integrating technology into their lessons was also an increase from 71 to 85% for those schools that use them really frequently and 71 to 80% for other users of STEM kits.
And for just one term to have those kits and have that kind of response, I think is fantastic. 85% of teachers are satisfied with our professional learning.
Yep, and the main factor contributing to teachers' sense of readiness was the professional learning that we offered, and other factors were teachers' own knowledge, their passion, and students' active participation.
Just goes to show how important that professional learning is though, doesn't it?
Another study that we conducted last year was on student learning of over 750 students. We've got some quotes up on the slide here that some of the students gave directly in their survey responses. One of the students said, "It made me think outside of the box and use creativity to solve problems. And it was exciting and interesting as I got to learn new things."
Fabulous. And for career aspirations, there was 3,500 participants. And this is a whole nother body of research for our project. 55% of participants noted that there was a change in their perspective towards STEM and their likelihood to choose a STEM career after using the STEM kits for one term. That's the students.
And we're looking at things like a student's reported here that when he went into the virtual reality for the first time, he was amazed at how and impressed about the VR world. It changed what I wanted to become when I grew up because of the interesting possibilities when I became older.
Yeah, fantastic. Just so you all know, you can actually look at that research yourself. And as I go into the learning library a little later on, I'll show you exactly where you can look at some of the research papers and reports, but you can also check out the audiobooks by our team.
Yeah, some people prefer to listen to it rather than read it.
No, I certainly do.
One of the other examples we'd like to talk about when we think about the impact of this project is the impact it has on a school level. We have created a video on Jamison High School and done a lot of work closely with them. They've used lots of our kits and used a lot of our professional learning to build the capacity of their staff. And it's a real exemplar of what STEM can do to build culture in a school.
Yeah.
The teams-based approach is fundamental to embedding something like STEM into a school because the vision becomes shared. I'd say at Jamison, it's become infectious. Welcome to Jamison High School. We're a proud comprehensive public high school in Western Sydney. Look, you'll see some of the things that the students are involved in here around the STEM initiatives. It really engages them in their work. They see a real connection beyond the school as well to employment. And I think that's really important. Being in Western Sydney, we've got the new airport, we've got a science park, and we'd be selling students short if we weren't pushing STEM and delivering on STEM initiatives here at the school.
STEM at Jamison essentially is about breaking down those silos, about showing the genuine connection and authentic learning across curriculum. How is maths applied in science? How is science applied in technology? And how are they all joined together? And we don't just limit ourselves to STEM as science, technology, engineering, maths. We engage support. We engage pretty much every faculty in the school.
The collaboration of the staff to align their scope and sequences to the STEM initiatives that they plan and develop has been critical.
All the head teachers of the different faculties sat as a group, and we had our scope and sequences in front of us, and we organised them so that they aligned. We've changed all the ways that we teach mathematics at this school as well. We relate it to the work they're doing so they can see uses of it in real life throughout, and then when they take that into their STEM subjects, they're using those concepts again. The challenges to implementing a system like this in a whole school was that people had to leave their egos for their subject silo behind, and they had to realise that they were gaining from this.
Ever since we've started this integrative approach, this year's data has come through to show that there has been a significant spike in NAPLAN data for numeracy. And that's not directly giving them more specific NAPLAN targeted questions, it's just showing them that connection.
They'll be continual learners because they won't be thinking, I will never use maths again, I've never used algebra, when will I ever use algebra? They'll actually see that they've actually using it in the different contexts in the different subject areas, and that the skills that they've learnt throughout the different subjects are something they can apply rather than just thinking, well, I learnt that in school and it'll never be used again.
I've been lucky to walk in to a school that had a clear vision for technology. It's embedded in every part of our curriculum. The Futures Focus that schools brought in, it's very much embedded in what we do and in our practice here at Jamison. And there's been key drivers of that, key staff who've had that commitment.
It is hard for people who haven't used technologies before to start start using them. You can't expect them to do that in a day or two. So it takes time, it takes a lot of conversations. Whenever someone develops themselves, like a teacher develops themselves through some professional learning, and it works in a classroom, you show others why it works and why they should try it themselves. I have had students from year 11 come to me and say to me in my classes, why didn't we have Minecraft when we were in year 8 or year 7? And I didn't have an answer for them because it wasn't available back in their time, but it is available now.
Leadership or executive leadership is essential to have any initiative run successfully in a school and be sustainable over time.
The ability of someone to be able to develop others, to empower others, to uptake new developments that are coming in, and to have the mindset for that is very important for any leader in any school.
Engagement for Jamison High School, it's not so much about that instant gratification. This is a cool bit of tech, let's have a bit of fun. It's about, let's look at that deeper knowledge underneath it and how is it actually used or utilised. So that's engagement, where they're interested in what they want to learn and then they ask for more. Everyone needs help in this. Everyone needs time and time is precious. And stem.T4L, the way we engage with it is to get that time back.
They have a dynamic learning team which serves as a means to embed project-based learning and meaningfully embed technology into classrooms.
Our project was to create a fantastic new outdoor learning area for all of our students to use. Technology was able to help us through effective planning. Using online software helped us to effectively collaborate with each other. We were able to pitch it to our executive team through the use of AR. So we're able to use one of our 360-degree cameras. So by us pitching it in AR, the user was effectively able to view the area, just to see some of the amazing gasps, the jaw-dropping moments at what we were thinking about.
I'd like to think, they're in year 11 now, I'd like to think that we'll be on the way to developing a concept like they've presented by the end of next year, so they can see that their work has had an impact on teaching and learning at the school. Absolutely.
So Glyn and Vaughan at Jamison have done an extraordinary job implementing STEM into their school and really broken down those individual silos in secondary schools and used some of our technology to support their student learning. One of the things that makes stem.T4L really unique as a project, and we're going to talk through, we've looked at the impact that our project has had, but how has that come about? I think the multi-layers to our project of, we have our kits, we have professional learning, and we have teaching and learning support in the learning library, which we'll walk through as well. But we're going to go through each piece of that.
And I think a lot of people come across stem.T4L in one of those aspects, probably usually, oh, my school is getting a kit.
Yep.
What does that mean? But then there is the teaching and learning to accompany that.
More than just the kit.
Yeah. You love that tagline. So we have 8 kits in all at the moment. And that has grown slightly since the beginning. I'll just point each of them out. We have 2 robotics kits. One is the tablet robotic, which comes with iPads, and one is the PC robotics, which comes with small PCs. We have a 360 camera kit, which is brand new this year. There is a handheld virtual reality kit and an immersive virtual reality kit. And might be worthwhile just mentioning the difference between those two. The immersive virtual reality kit is the full kit and caboodle in that it's the immersive, it covers you. The headgear is, well, a lot more expensive, let's say, but it stays on your head, whereas the handheld one, you hold it up. And so handheld, based on some of our research, which again you can check out on the Learning Library, is great for those younger kids.
But immersive would be the secondary.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and we used to call it that, but then we found these were better naming conventions for sure. We have a coding kit, which is not physical, but it is an ability to go on and loan different licenses for your students to learn coding for that term. We have a filming kit and a 3D printing kit. It's a lot when you sort of say
it. It is a lot, but it's a try before you buy experience. Give all of these or all of these things a go and then see what works for your school. 1 term or 2 for the immersive VR.
Yes.
The other really unique thing about our project is our STEM leaders. We have 12 extraordinary educators who are based across the state, and they will go in and support schools. So when we look at the impact on teacher confidence and student learning, this is one key piece here, that teachers have shoulder-to-shoulder support. They're building communities of schools in building their capacity in STEM. So the kind of uniqueness that they offer is exceptional.
And you can see by that map, they cover the whole state. You know, pre-COVID, they were getting out there to every single school as they could and providing professional learning to local communities, which is great. So the Learning Library. This is a big part of the project, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because it pulls together all the different facets of the project. The Learning Library, why don't I just bring it up? Here it is. The Learning Library is available to all teachers and students in New South Wales public schools. And you begin here with a search, some news, a big menu at the top, and you can actually search for any resource that you want around STEM and technology. You're able to explore, teach and learn based on our different kits and the equipment available. You can search for any sort of keyword that you want, or if you know exactly what you're looking for, then you have a board code. But what I wanted to do was just show you briefly a few of the different facets that are available. Most people who are just hearing about stem.T4L for the first time, or hearing, oh, my school's going to get a kit, or my principal wants me to book a kit, those sort of questions, they'll jump straight into the kits at the top. And you can approach it in one of 2 ways. If you know you're getting, say, the 3D printing kit, jump in here and have a look at all the resources. And there are quite a few. But if you just want to start your stem.T4L journey, let's have a quick look at what that is. You can do so by learning how to book your kit, prepare for it before you actually get it, what to do when you receive it, using it with your students, packing and returning, and then evaluating afterwards. Now, there is a whole lot more in here, just like we were saying, around finding events for professional learning. There's a whole new section for students, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But then you have the Learning Library section, which have boards and cards. And this is very interesting because at first you might just be looking for content on the Learning Library, but what you can do is actually start to curate your own resources, perhaps for your school community, for your own students in your classroom, or for the whole state of teachers and students around any topic you want.
And it will really allow you to have the resources you need in a place for you, so you can go back and forth to it rather than looking for it all the time. Yeah, it's fabulous that way. Your students can get on there, they can use the boards you create or those other people create, and also you can link it to all the outcomes and syllabuses as well. So I'm not going to show exactly every little part of the Learning Library, but we will explore different parts as we go on for sure. 44 learning challenges, and I think this is really one of the most exciting parts of our whole project. Learning challenges. Learning challenges are essentially units of work that will last from about 5 to 10 weeks, and they've been expertly put together by our STEM leaders and people in our work here, our learning designers.
they're all about using the different kits in ways that are authentic, project-based, and fun to do.
And I think remembering, take some time to look at those learning challenges. If you have a kit, we know teachers have told us that's what's worked for them. They've taken some equipment home, they've had a dabble with it, and you might only do part of their learning challenge, but using that as a great kind of starting point to get your ideas, or go with what's there already, because it's all kind of guided for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking for those for the first time, you're wondering, well, how do I even get to this learning library? You want to go through the staff portal and find it in My Learning Tools on the left-hand side. And if you like, you can add that to your featured tools at the top that you always get. Please do that. But once you're in there, what you can do is go to My Learning Library and click on All Learning Challenges. And this is going to give you one of the featured boards which show every single learning challenge for all the different kits. And when you click on one, I'll just look into one. Let's say I click into, and I'm not going to do this by accident, this is one I worked on, the Ultimate Games Controller. And it always starts with a leading design question. This one is, how might we design and construct a custom-built game controller that is personalised to a user's needs? And this one uses the makey to actually have students think about the design process of making their own controller and how to meet the needs of another person, a user. And so what you have is 3 different challenges that work through the beginning of what is this makey thing? We have one on the desk here, but just turning these things on is really part of what challenge 1 was about, getting used to use them. And then you work through a design process in challenges 2 and 3 towards a main challenge, which is that authentic learning. And on the left here, you'll see teacher notes. Everything you need, including the resources, any worksheets, downloads, videos, are all available here, including all the syllabus outcomes.
And I think, today we're here to talk about the impact of this project, and I think things like the exceptionally rich learning challenges builds into the reasons why there's been so much progression for kids with student learning and for teacher confidence, because their hands are held through this learning challenge. Teachers don't need a lot of outside knowledge with STEM prior to engaging.
Absolutely.
The other thing that we have on the Learning Library is our how-to videos. We have over 70 videos on our YouTube channel that we have really done in a way that it's shoulder-to-shoulder support. How do I take it out of the box? What do I do with it before? Your students can watch it as well, so it doesn't need to necessarily be you keeping all that information. But take the time, and we know that teachers do, they take the time to go in there to watch things beforehand so they feel really confident with using them.
Yeah, so if you're looking for those, you can find them on the stem.T4L YouTube channel, but probably the easiest way is just to be looking for your kit. You might be using, let's say, the 3D printing kit, and when you follow that down the page, you'll see that videos actually come up first. And so these are coming straight from YouTube, and when you click on one, it will bring up YouTube and show that to you or your students. There are your learning challenges for that, and as you go through, you'll see other support gear as well.
The other thing that you might have on that same page, Rob, is our webinar recordings. So twice a term, again, building into why we've had such great impact, is our leaders do live webinars twice a term on each kit. And we keep those recordings in the Learning Library. So if you would like to watch it before your kit arrives, or if it just doesn't work for you to watch it live, you can jump into those recordings.
Yep, absolutely. And they're also available up the top. You can find them in PL and support, of course, under online workshop recordings.
Awesome. Now, I suppose 2020 for the project has been a bit unique, and it's given us a bit of an opportunity to create some resources that a lot of our team have been passionate about and we've talked about for a long time. So we'll talk you through some of those and show you where they are on the Learning Library as well.
It's been an exciting time, a challenging time, but very exciting time where people have been able to, in some ways, follow their passions, stretch what they thought they'd be able to do, and reach our teachers and students in a whole new ways.
And I think it was also around supporting teachers in another way. So we knew that teachers needed high quality teaching resources when they were very busy.
And when they were teaching in a new modality, essentially, we had that learning from home stage, which we all went through.
Yeah, so one of the resources we've got is our STEM Sesh. So that's a bit of a virtual incursion where a scientific or a STEM field expert does a live incursion for kids. So we've had the Brickman, that was one of our most popular ones with, over 2,000 people viewed that. But we're using all sorts. We've had some costume set designers, we've had some environmental scientists. So we're doing those about 3 times a term now, but we have the Brickman recording on the Learning Library as well.
Yeah, fabulous.
T4L Kids.
Close to my heart.
Do you want to talk about T4L Kids?
No, you go for it.
Sorry, T4L Kids magazine is a new product that we launched this year as well, a student-led design magazine. So some of our leaders have used the time to really drill down into a topic area that they're passionate about. We've done one on 3D printing, we've done one on game design, and the next one is going to be
Science.
All
Yes.
about science and
Yes,
scientific
inquiry-based
process.
one.
Yeah,
Yep. It's going to be fun.
so that's our T4L Kids.
And what's great, it's not just a magazine. I mean, it's not even a physical magazine with actual pages, but you can flick through it. I'll show briefly, if you
Yes,
don't mind,
yep.
what this is like. If you go to the For Students section on the Learning Library, and you can also find this on the T4L page on the internet that's also public. If you click on T4L Kids or go to one of the issues, I'll jump straight into the newest issue, which only came out a couple of weeks ago. Here's issue 2, all about the science fiction edition and 3D. And you can view it straight on the web page here. You can click through the different pages. You can make it full screen and actually look through the pages, zoom in as you need. But you'll notice that all throughout here, there are lots of videos which give a lot of depth to this magazine, mostly made by our leaders and our learning designers. And it just means that what you have here is much more than 11 pages. It's a fabulous resource of videos and that sort of thing.
And it really supports that point-in-time learning for students. They can go back and re-watch those videos to learn another skill of using one of those platforms as well.
Yeah.
I think when you talked about the student resources on the Learning Library, students have the Learning Library on their portal as well, on the student portal. So keep that in mind. What about the student filmmaker, Rob?
Ah, yes, the student filmmaker. One of our first student-facing really resources. And what I mean by that is the student filmmaker speaks directly to students and takes them through a whole lot of great steps in, well, their modules in how to create with film, how to share their work, how they can do that with different devices. So if you have an iPad or if you have a PC, if you have access to Adobe products or you just want to use free products, you can do it all with this. And I think the people that worked on this have done a fabulous job of making a real learning journey for the students.
Yeah, and we know that more and more work and learning that students are demonstrating their understanding is by film. And there's competitions where they can enter films and all sorts of things. So we wanted to kind of refine the process for students a little bit.
Yeah, we felt that there's something that's kind of missing in that ecosystem for students.
Yeah.
They want to make films. So let's give them access to quality resources where they can learn how to use the techniques of professional filmmakers.
Yeah. What about our live learning challenges?
So we were saying that the learning challenges, we were trying to hold the hand of teachers as much as possible in a social distancing friendly way, of course. We were trying to hold the hand of teachers throughout that process of the learning challenge. This approach is slightly different in that you have one that doesn't use a whole site for the learning challenge. It sits on one of our boards in the learning challenge, but we're there with you virtually in the classroom. And so the STEM leaders who are running it, they're running it live with the students in the class, with the teachers supporting those students in the class. They're running it through, I think they're using Zoom as the platform.
Yep.
And what's fantastic about that is that once they go away after that hour or two, then the students and the teachers continue that work and they have school homework to continue throughout that journey with emails and support until the next time they come along and they touch base. Yeah, I love this new method of doing learning
It's a very
challenges.
clever idea our leaders have come up with. What about what's coming soon for us?
So we have something that's quite similar and from the same team that created the student filmmaker, we have the student podcaster. So this is going to be great. It's almost ready to go live and it's all about kids making their own podcasts. Podcasts are getting huge, as you know. Podcast star yourself. No, I shouldn't laugh, you are.
Well, yes.
But for students to build podcasts themselves, whether it's on the work that they're doing or their own interests. I know my eldest daughter, she's really excited to jump into the student podcast.
There are a lot of schools making their own community podcasts now as well, just in support of 2020, I suppose, trying to get parents to understand what's happening in the school, so they're using it for that.
Communication has become
Yeah.
so much more important this year. And podcasts are a great way where you can reach students, students can reach their community and friends, and they can talk about the things that are important to them. And this allows them to do it in a way that's high quality. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
These are skills that they'll have throughout life as well.
That's right. The other thing that we've been working on for quite some time here is our work samples. We really wanted, when we look about, we think about the impact this project's having, we want to continue that for teachers. And having work samples where they can see real examples of student work allows them to develop a better understanding of how to implement STEM into their classroom.
Yep.
What kind of work samples have
Well,
we
it's that
got at the
moniker
moment?
of you know the quality when you see it.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
So I'll jump into one because we have placed it up there, but it is a work in progress and it will be a working document area essentially.
Yep.
But on the Learning Library, under PL and support, we do have a work sample section, which we've just placed up recently. And you can actually use a refiner to pick what subjects you're working on or what stage. And it can take you through some of the work samples that have been created using our learning challenges and some that are just STEM related and might use some of the same equipment or just any equipment that's available or technology that is relevant to any of the student learning. And so when you click into them, you get a whole lot of information that supports you to really try and do something similar if you're interested in that and get an idea of where students are working at across the state, which is really important. Get a little bit of that teacher quality judgment.
Yeah. And we need to remember as well that, you know, you may not have a STEM kit, but you can absolutely still be using what's in the Learning Library.
Oh,
for
very
your
much so.
own equipment at school, or you might be looking to make some purchases. You can still go in and use that. And we really want teachers soon, I think, to include work samples as well.
Yep, absolutely. This is just an example of student work, which is absolutely fantastic. And outcomes related, subjects, general capabilities, and we'll continue to make this better and better, including related resources so you can try it out yourself.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got time for Q&A now.
Fabulous.
We can find information on there's two websites there, educationnewsouthwales.gov.au and our T4L link /EduTech. And I think that's it. Thanks for the chat today, Rob. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of EduTech.